Welcome to Get to the Point. I'm your host, Jessica Spahn, and I'm excited today to bring you a show highlighting the importance of recreation and community, brought to you by the Keller Pointe. Join us each episode and be inspired as we bring you conversations with community leaders who share their experiences, expertise, and explore the role that recreation plays in sustaining well-being and success. What are we waiting for? Let's get to the point. Welcome to Get to the Point. I'm your host, Jessica Spahn. This is a show brought to you by the Keller Pointe. I'm really excited today because multiple reasons. First, it's a new year, which means it's a new season. And I've been thinking about what we should do with this season. So we're thinking about focusing more on our members and how we can add value to your experience. Today, we have a very special guest, a legacy member, and this is our first membership spotlight. We have Tom Shehan with us in the studio.
Thank you very much. I'm going to enjoy being here.
He's been enjoying being here, right? We've had fun already. A lot of stuff behind the scenes, you guys.
Exactly.
We just weren't recording it. So okay, we were talking earlier, and I'm really excited because I didn't even know about the Keller Pointe until I got hired, basically, even though I was born in Fort Worth. So you have a whole different experience because you had been in Irving before moving to Keller. And so tell me kind of the experience that you had. What was the space before it was Keller Pointe? How did you hear about it? How did everything begin? What are the beginnings like?
Well, in the beginning, it used to be something called the city barn, which actually is a maintenance area for city vehicles.
So no horses?
No horses. And so I was riding my bike, avid exercise guy. So I was riding my bike and I saw that they had shut the city barn down. So I asked why, and they said they're going to build an athletic facility here owned and operated by the city. And so that's really actually my first venture with Keller Pointe, is to find out it was being built.
Did they have a name for it at the beginning?
No.
How did they pick the name?
I don't know.
I feel like that's a question I should have an answer to, at least. I'm like, I don't know what the E is there for, but that's so fun. So, okay. Before then, you said you're a very active person. So you're really excited about this because you like to use facilities.
I had a facility that I used in Irving for many years. Worked for the airport. I was right down the street a little ways from the airport in Irving. So when we decided to move from Irving to Keller, I knew I was going to have to pick another place because I couldn't continue to use
driving.
One in Irving.
Yeah.
So
and were you still with DFW?
Pardon?
You were still with the airport?
Yes.
And then what did you do for the airport? I think you should let the viewers know what your role was.
Well, I was the chief of police at the airport.
Okay, interesting.
Quite a number of years.
Okay.
And so we moved to Irving. Moved from Irving to Keller.
Okay.
And reestablished it. And I got to looking around for things to do and places to exercise and do weights and ride my bike and places like that. And then Keller Pointe was built, and I never looked back.
I feel like if I was going to be one of the trendy young people, I'd say you manifested the Keller Pointe. But it was already in the works, though. That's just one of those perfect timing situations. And so you have a family.
Yes.
So do you have children?
I have a wife,
okay.
Of course, and we together we blended families.
Okay.
And now we have the 5 children.
Okay.
3 boys, 2 girls. 6 grandchildren, actually 7 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild.
Awesome. So when you guys moved, and when the Keller Pointe opened, did you go as a family? Like, what was that experience? Did they have the water park outside? Was it all at once? I have so many questions for you.
Oh, my. I don't remember about the water park. I do remember that they had a swimming pool.
Indoors?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, indoor, outdoor.
Okay.
And then I think the water park was kind of added later on.
Okay.
But that wasn't my main focus.
No.
I like to swim a bit, but mainly I was a weight guy, and I like to do the walks up the top and ride bike up to the Keller Pointe, work out and ride home. I don't do that much anymore.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of glad you're not a pool person. Because you hung in there with us last year pretty well. Except for you like the spa.
Oh, yeah.
You were very excited.
Was my favorite place.
You were very excited that was open again.
Absolutely.
I saw you in there the other day, and I was like, should I take a picture for the show? That might be weird.
No.
Because you're like, yay, you're back in it.
Wait a minute. Let me put a sack
I know,
over
right?
my head.
Oh, no. I just meant because, like, you're in your swim trunks.
I know.
weird. I don't know where the lines are.
I understand.
That's so much fun. Okay, so how did it work when it opened? Was there like, Chick-fil-A when they have their grand openings, and everybody camps out?
They used to do all their grand things.
Okay.
And I don't remember if there was one as a result of the opening or not. It seems to me like there was.
Should have been. I'm sure there was.
And they do them in the gym.
Okay.
They set up the tables.
Okay.
And you walk through and you see this and that.
Different vendors, I guess, maybe, or like
sponsors, things like that. And I'm almost certain they did that, and I'm almost certain I went, but it's been a while ago. So
you don't remember? That's like,
well, thanks.
There's other events in life. I understand. Life goes on. Well, we're excited because a year from this summer will be 20 years, and we are going to have a huge anniversary party. And like I was telling you earlier, we'll have to think of some way with you guys who've been with us since the very, very beginning to get you guys some, like a plaque, or get your names on a plaque or something.
Wow.
Do something really special for all of our legacy members, because that's epic, Yeah. You're almost 19 years with us, going on 20. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's find out more about your family. So what was your role in a career kind of leading up to when you moved to Keller? What were you doing? You were working at DFW Airport.
Right. I was working at DFW Airport. As I said, I was the chief there. And I had been working there for, 25 years, I guess. And so all it was for me was to change a place to live.
Yeah.
And so I continued with the airport, and then realized that with that many years, I probably ought to leave and retire. And so interesting story was that I decided that I would retire in 2001.
Uh-oh. Yeah,
and
didn't work out.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out. The retirement was put on hold at the request of the airport
because of your job.
Yeah,
it's
and
very
so
important.
I waited 5 more years and ended up retiring in 06.
Yeah. Okay.
So that was kind of the end of my career in law enforcement, and so then started other things.
I love that too, because I've gotten to know you over the last year, and I wouldn't necessarily have guessed law enforcement. You can be very serious, seeming like composed.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have guessed law enforcement. So that's really neat. And then I saw on your CV that you had been to, you went to the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, for
National Academy.
Yeah,
Yes.
they have, it's like a class, or what is that?
That's a 3-month school.
Okay.
24/7, do all sorts of things.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
And it's in Quantico, Virginia, on the Marine Corps base. And so they have all sorts of facilities as a result, and there's exercise and running and doing all the things that I was doing, only under the guise of learning about law from the FBI.
That sounds very interesting. I mean, there's so many shows that have come out over the years, like Criminal Minds and all that.
Yeah, there used to be a show called the FBI Academies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. And it was about the academy and things that happened around.
Was it true to life?
No, not really.
Like TV is not quite.
It's TV. But there's a saying, and as the saying goes, if you don't want to work a day in your life, get a job you love.
Absolutely, but I still think you work a day every day.
Well, of course,
but define work. I mean,
so I, was in Irving and went to Irving High School, did a little college, and I went to work for the Irving Police Department, and never looked back.
I love that. So did you the city manager is Mark Hafner.
Yes.
So, and I know a little bit about his background. Did you guys cross paths at all in your vocations, or just kind of have like sort of similar situations in your backstory as far as the police and really, and then he likes to ride his bike a lot too, and
he's a big physical fitness guy and always has been.
He's in the pool like every morning now.
He's a former not chief, but a captain, I believe, in a Northeast police department. Northeast area. And I knew his boss, who was the chief.
Oh, really?
And so we got to know each other through the International Association of Chiefs of Police.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, the Keller job came open, the chief of police
Okay.
Keller came open. And someone asked if I wanted to throw my hat in the ring, and I said, I've been one a long time, but I don't want to be one again.
Yeah.
So next thing I know, Mark Hafner has kind of put out a little note to me saying, hey, I'd like to try for that job down there. What do you think? And so it's history. He tried for it. He got it,
and now he's
I knew
the city
him
manager.
when he came in. His boss came down to do his welcome in ceremony and all of that.
Oh,
So
I love stories.
That's how
like
Mark
that.
and I started off.
That's so awesome because the city is very tight knit from what I've seen. Because I've only been with Keller Pointe for a year, and seeing the inside of Keller and how the city works and our awesome members at the Keller Pointe and everybody. It's just like a big family, which I guess
it is.
You have your drama sometimes, but then you have all these like sweet moments. And with Fit City too, coming back around.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun.
It will.
I'm excited because you participated last year, correct?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Well, you held the trophy for a picture.
Yes,
so.
I did.
I feel like that counts for something. And yeah, you guys, okay. So when I was trying to find out information on you as far as like having a conversation, since this is a different style show than usual, we're going to have more of a conversation.
It's a fun show.
Yeah, it's a blast. But so it was hard because I don't know you on those levels, right? It's like always say hi, you're having coffee. There's this like coffee crew.
Yeah.
That hangs out, and I love that. And I want to talk about that in a second too. But it was funny because when you had left the envelope with the information in it, it was on my desk, and I came in and I was like, "Why is there a resume on my desk?" And I put it on Randy's desk because he's the customer service guy, and I'm assuming it's like someone applying for a job. I didn't even look at it. I was like, "Why is this resume here?" And then I come back later in the day, and I'm like, why is it on my desk again? And then I read the name and I'm like, oh, it's not a resume. I started reading dates and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense now. So that was so funny because I was trying to get information to know what questions to ask.
Well, I that's all I had was the resume, and it was short and sweet. So,
well, that's perfect though, because I got to know enough to know sort of that. And then also chatting with you about hobbies. But I want to talk for a minute about the coffee crew, because you guys it seems like it's this group of people. How many kind of like would you say? And they come and go, but it's like in the mornings.
It is a really great group, and I guess that's one of the main reasons I go to the Keller Pointe is to socialize with all my friends there at the coffee.
Well, and I was kind of thinking that'd be a really good thing to mention because the Keller Pointe as a fitness facility, but also recreation, I think that's huge, especially right now, post-pandemic, is having those relationships and the interaction that you guys have and that you built and the necessity of that in Keller and in life, really. So I just was curious as far as like how long have you guys been kind of meeting up? I know we put coffee out till noon.
Yeah.
And then we say, go away. I'm just kidding.
Well, when we first started there was no coffee. That came later. And so we all decided to sit and talk for at least a period of time.
Yeah, so there were always just 2 tables there?
2 or 3.
Where'd they come from?
I don't know.
If there was no coffee, why were there tables? Okay.
Anyway, the first thing we organized was a little basketball thing back when we were still pretty active. We shot basketball and did the basketball 3-on-3
nice.
And then shooting.
And y'all could still do that, right?
Oh, yeah, maybe. And so we got into the weight thing. Of course, I've always been in the weight thing and did that. And then, of course, walking up on the second level track, and that was fun. And but it was workout and then talk.
Yeah.
And the crew was very diverse.
Yeah.
You wouldn't realize just seeing people sitting there what their backgrounds were.
Yeah, which is why I'm talking to you, because I'm curious.
Well, 3 of them are retired military officers, and one of them was in the Air Force, and the other 2 were in the Navy. One of them was a submariner captain, and then the other one went on to be a lawyer, and even the submariner captain became a lawyer.
Really?
And retired in those fields also.
And still hangs out at Keller Pointe?
Well, yeah. And then there were some there was a doctor, a retired doctor that sat with us. And Several other, there was a retired engineer, electrical engineer that used to work for, I believe it was Motorola. And he sat with us a lot and still does. So that's who we were. And then we discussed what we used to do. We had problems. We bounced it off the other guy.
Yeah.
See if they had an answer.
Yeah, I love seeing that part too, because I mean, I know that there's the park run on Saturdays that is by the dog park, and it encourages community to be active together. And I'm seeing a lot of connection through that, but also with you guys. And I think that's a huge part of a recreational facility is the human aspect, but beyond just the like, get strong, stay strong, and get your workout on. You have friends that you
we do.
Friendships form.
Yeah, and so at noontime it's usually over. We go our separate ways, or we go out to lunch or something.
Do you guys really? I like that. So most of you are retired at this point, right?
Oh yes.
Okay, so you guys, I love that you start your day, you do your life there, and then you just move on to another place, and you're back the next morning.
Oh, it became part of my life.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and I'm glad we brought the coffee back then, because when we started, I know there wasn't coffee for a few months, maybe.
Maybe whatever.
And then that was a big deal.
Yeah, that was a really big deal. And we would bring snacks, have our little morning snacks and coffee, and then go work out, or in the reverse. Or
I've seen you on the incumbent bike just kind of slowly spinning.
There you go.
You're like sipping your coffee. Does this count as a workout? You're talking to the person next to you. You're doing like everything at once. I mean, it's actually the best way to multitask, probably.
Absolutely.
You got the friendship, you get the coffie, and you get the workout.
Yep. Socialization. That's a big thing.
That's huge. I love it. Okay. Let me see. I was going to ask you if you could tell people more about your background when we talked about your job. Because I read in what you had left me to read that there were some plane hijackings.
Yes, over the years.
Yeah. Well, tell me more, because I was like curious about that. What was that like, and what was that?
Well, to start with, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, I like interesting.
The job that I had all my life, you could describe it as what would it be? Hours and hours of boredom, sprinkled with minutes of sheer terror.
That's a great way to describe it, I think.
So early on in my career, we built the organization.
Okay.
The police organization. I kind of was there, but I didn't build it. The people built it. The guys who worked.
Yeah.
And ladies. And then once we got it built, the airport opened. So we had to start with a bunch of recruits or people who had experience, and then move from that into an organization that was supposed to police. Well, anyway, we did that, and then we began all of our many problems that we had over the years, and that included 3 airplane crashes.
But I think you said on there that like you prevented a hijacking.
Yes, we had.
How did that go down?
We had 2 or 3 aircraft hijackings or attempted. One was a fly-through landing and releasing hostages and picking up food and flying to Cuba, back when going to Cuba was part of the aircraft hijacking. And then one was a man who took a young boy hostage at the pre-board checkpoint, and was going to try to go to the Middle East. And, so we had to prevent that from happening. That was in the Delta terminal.
And these are all the things that probably no one knows about in the airport, right? You guys do it really quietly.
We tried.
Everybody's just trying to get on their trip to Cancun. Well, they're not worried about it. You guys are behind the scenes, like living the life of movies.
You can't do it too quietly if you shut down the entire terminal.
Well, that's true.
But nevertheless, and then we had one guy who was incoming on an airplane and lost his mind, or it was mental.
Okay.
And he wanted to take the aircraft to another location because he had these make-believe problems that was waiting for him here at the DFW airport. So anyway, we worked through that and solved all of those. Those were all of the big exciting things, maybe more that I can't recall, that happened at the DFW airport.
Yes, this is why you're like, I love the Keller Pointe. There's no hijackings.
That's right.
It's just coffee and a track to walk. And I see the people walking in the pool now. They like to not. Some of them like to walk laps or whatever against the current channel or whatever that's called. And then you guys like to relax in the spa.
Right.
I'm so glad it's open for you again. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. You're so fascinating. Is there anything that you would like to mention? I mean, with the Keller Pointe, you've been there the whole time. Have there been any big? I know there's been a few renovations, and obviously this last year was a nightmare. But you know, it's over and the pool works. But besides that, like there was an addition, right, at some point to like the weight area.
Yes.
So was that smooth sailing?
Yeah. The weight area was not as big as it is now.
Yeah, because I saw it like goes around. It didn't used to do that, I guess.
And the population of Keller Pointe was growing. And
Keller too, I mean.
Yeah, Keller too. And so they needed more weights and more room to work out. And that construction was, I couldn't ask for better planned and then the results from that. And even the pool, you know, it just, things happen. So it was done really well by the city engineers and by the city.
We have a beautiful deck now. We were joking with Mike about maybe getting a little plaque for him saying like the most beautiful deck or something like in the area.
Yeah.
Because that was, you know, a year. And it was a deck.
Yeah.
And it was funny because Community Impact was asking to get some answers because they were putting an article together about the opening, right? And when I was speaking with the city communications gal, Rachel, it was like, well, we're trying to figure out if it seemed like a different story because we're like, basically, it's just that the deck is done. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but the guy wrote a great piece yesterday. It came out on the online version. And he did such a good job just formatting it and forming it. And even though the end result is a brand new deck and it's beautiful and it took a year, because I think some people were like, well, what did you add? Nothing. There's a deck that works though now in the pool also.
Yes.
So
and we also know how it works.
now we have all the plans. And we're going to do a huge event. I'm not sure if this is going to be in time when we release this podcast, but the 28th. We are doing a grand reopening of the pool.
Yes.
So the mayor's going to be there. We're going to have a surprise guest that I'm not mentioning yet, who's going to be on site. Okay. We're going to have all kinds of good stuff that day. Fun. We're going to have prizes. Yeah. And I don't know what else. So if you have any thoughts over the next week or two, just share them with me. Tell me what you think we should add to the event.
Well, as far as fun things, you are the champion of that.
I mean, I will be there. I will be there.
And I'm sure you have all these fun things planned.
I'm trying.
I'm looking forward to be part of it. But as far as us and the people who will be there and benefit from your fun plans, I can't add to it. We'll be there.
Well,
and
you know what?
pleased.
Yeah, you know what you guys should do? So we have the same photographer who did Doggy Done. He's fabulous. His photos amazing, and he's got these crazy long lenses, so he can get from like it's like he's in the pool. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have him on site. So see how many of the coffee crew you guys can get to go that day, because I would love to add that. I'm creating a shot list for him. I would love to put that on there so he can grab a picture of you guys as well.
I could do that.
Yeah,
and I
so
could
that's
ask,
your job.
I could ask those people that I deal with daily about who was here when it first opened, because I don't really know. I know that they came and then they left and they came back, some of them. And so perhaps there are records that you could use and find people that, and maybe I could read them and see if I know them. Yeah. And ask them to come, make sure they're there with
that'd be a really neat experience. Yeah. So, well, thank you for being on our show as our very first member spotlight. I just say things like very first because you're the first. But with a newish podcast, there are a lot of firsts. I love it. Like my very special guest every time, because everybody is special. So
thank you very much.
Okay. Ooh, I have a gift that I give everybody. I don't recall if I've given you one yet.
Oh, thank you.
But I mean, that way you can represent us when you're out.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. That way, when you're out, at your lunch after your bike ride, coffee, hangout session, after the spa, then you can wear that out and represent us. I'm like clunking on the
Very
table.
good. Very good.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess let's close it out. Do you remember?
I think
we'll try and do it. So we're going to do this to that one. Yeah. Okay, you ready? What are you waiting for?
Get to the point.